What if I told you that one of the greatest presidents in American history was once just a poor little boy with nothing but impossible dreams? A boy who grew up surrounded by poverty, who buried the people he loved, who faced failure after failure, and who spent years believing that life would never get easier. Most people know Abraham Lincoln as the man who changed America. But very few know the heartbreaking journey that shaped the man behind the legend. Because before he stood in the White House, before millions admired his courage, before history remembered his name, he was simply a boy trying to survive. And what happened during those years proves one unforgettable truth. Your greatest struggle may be preparing you for your greatest purpose. But before we begin, if stories like this remind you to stay strong when life gets difficult, if they inspire you to chase your dreams no matter how impossible they seem, then make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Every week, we bring you true stories of ordinary people who achieved extraordinary things. Not because life was easy, but because they refused to quit. Now let's travel back more than 200 years to a tiny log cabin hidden deep in the forests of Kentucky. It was February 12, 1809. The freezing wind slipped through the cracks in the wooden walls. There were no luxuries, no warm bedrooms, no expensive toys, and no promise that tomorrow would be any better than today. Inside that small cabin, a baby boy was born. His parents named him Abraham Lincoln. No one celebrated his birth with fireworks. No newspapers wrote about him. No one could have imagined that this poor child would one day change the future of an entire nation. Years passed, and the little boy who once read borrowed books beside the dim glow of a fireplace slowly grew into a determined young man. But one thing never changed: his hunger for knowledge. Abraham believed that education was the only treasure no poverty could steal. While many people accepted the life they were born into, he quietly prepared for the life he dreamed of. Every book he found became another step toward a future no one else believed was possible. He wasn't the smartest young man in the room. He wasn't the richest, but he was willing to learn long after everyone else had stopped. To support his family, Abraham worked wherever work could be found. He split logs for endless hours, built fences, worked on farms, and carried heavy supplies from one town to another. The work was exhausting, and the pay was barely enough to survive. Yet every difficult day taught him something valuable. He learned discipline. He learned patience. Most importantly, he learned that no honest work is ever beneath a person with a dream. One of the most important experiences of his youth came while working on a flatboat that traveled down the Mississippi River. During that journey, Abraham witnessed something that would remain in his heart forever. He saw enslaved men, women, and children being treated as property instead of human beings. Families were separated without mercy. Children cried as they were taken away from their parents. The pain he witnessed left a scar that time could never erase. He didn't know it yet, but those heartbreaking moments would one day shape decisions that would change the history of America forever. As Abraham grew older, people began noticing something unusual about him. He wasn't famous. He wasn't powerful, but he was incredibly honest. One day, after accidentally overcharging a customer by just a few cents, he walked several miles simply to return the money. On another occasion, he realized he had given someone too little change and walked back just to correct his mistake. Those small actions earned him a nickname that would follow him for the rest of his life: Honest Abe. Character isn't built when people are watching. Character is built when no one is watching. For the first time, Abraham believed life might finally be changing. With hope in his heart, he and a friend opened a small general store. He imagined a future where hard work would finally bring stability. He dreamed of helping his family in building a better life. But life had another lesson waiting for him. The business struggled almost from the beginning. Customers were few, money disappeared quickly, and before long the store failed completely. Then tragedy struck again. His business partner died, leaving Abraham responsible for debts he could barely imagine paying. The amount was so large that people joked he would spend the rest of his life paying it back. And in many ways, he almost did. Most people would have blamed bad luck. Others would have blamed circumstances. Abraham chose something different. He accepted responsibility. Little by little, year after year, he worked tirelessly until every dollar of that debt was repaid. Success isn't revealed by how you celebrate victory. It's revealed by how you respond when everything falls apart. Despite everything that had happened, Abraham refused to stop dreaming. Deep inside, another dream had begun to grow. He wanted to serve people. He believed ordinary citizens deserved leaders who were honest, fair, and compassionate. Asterisk, as Abraham slowly rebuilt his life, he spent more and more time listening to the struggles of ordinary people. Farmers spoke about unfair laws. Workers talked about the hardships of everyday life. Families dreamed of better opportunities for their children. The more Abraham listened, the more he realized that real change could not come from simply talking about problems. It required honest people willing to lead. For the first time, a new dream began to grow inside him. He no longer wanted to change only his own life. He wanted to help change the lives of others. Determined to prepare himself, Abraham devoted countless hours to studying law, improving his public speaking, and understanding the issues facing his community. He attended local meetings, listened carefully to experienced leaders, and slowly earned the respect of the people around him. Day by day, he was becoming the kind of man people could trust. And before long, he knew it was time to take the biggest step of his life. With the trust of his community growing stronger every day, Abraham finally made a decision that many considered impossible. He decided to run for public office. He had no wealthy family behind him, no famous last name, no powerful connections, only determination, honesty, and a dream that refused to die. When election day arrived, Abraham waited with hope in his heart. But the results were devastating. He lost. For a moment, it seemed as though life had spoken once again. You're not good enough. Many people would have accepted that message and walked away forever. Abraham Lincoln didn't. Instead of blaming others, he asked himself one question: what can I become before I try again? That single question changed everything. He returned to his books. He studied law. He practiced speaking. He listened carefully to the struggles of ordinary people. Every defeat became another lesson. Every disappointment became another reason to improve. Because Abraham had discovered something that most people never do. Failure is never the end of the journey, unless you decide to stop walking. And although he couldn't see it yet, every setback was quietly preparing him for the greatest responsibility of his life. Abraham Lincoln refused to let failure become his identity. Every defeat made him wiser, stronger, and more determined. He continued studying law until he finally became a respected lawyer. His honesty, kindness, and ability to understand ordinary people slowly earned him the trust of those around him. He wasn't the loudest man in the room. He wasn't the most charismatic speaker. But when Abraham spoke, people listened because they knew his words came from the heart. He believed leadership wasn't about power. It was about serving others. The years that followed were filled with even more setbacks. He lost more elections than most people could imagine. Friends questioned his decisions. Critics laughed at his dreams. Newspapers attacked him. Many believed he would never become an important leader. But every time life knocked him down, he stood back up with even greater determination. Abraham understood something that few people ever learn. Every failure carries a lesson, but only those who refuse to quit ever get to discover it. Then came the year that changed everything. In 1860, after decades of hardship, sacrifice, and perseverance, Abraham Lincoln was elected the 16th President of the United States. The poor boy from a tiny log cabin had reached the White House. The child who once had almost no education had become the leader of a nation. The man who had failed again and again had achieved what once seemed impossible. His journey proved that your beginning does not decide your ending. But becoming president did not make life easier. In fact, his greatest challenge was only beginning. America was deeply divided. The nation stood on the edge of civil war. Families, friends, and neighbors found themselves on opposite sides of a conflict that threatened to tear the country apart. Every decision Lincoln made carried enormous consequences. Every day brought heartbreaking news from the battlefield. Thousands of lives were being lost. Even during those darkest years, Abraham never lost sight of the values he had carried since childhood. He believed that every human being deserved dignity and freedom. In 1863, he issued the Emancipation Proclamation, declaring freedom for enslaved people in the Confederate States. It was one of the most courageous decisions of his presidency and became a defining step toward ending slavery in the United States. The war demanded everything from him. Long nights became normal. Worry never left his face. Yet he continued to lead with courage, humility, and hope. He knew history would judge his decisions, but he chose to do what he believed was right rather than what was easy. Finally, after years of unimaginable sacrifice, the Civil War came to an end. The Union was preserved, and millions looked toward a future filled with hope. It seemed that peace had finally arrived. But only a few days later, tragedy struck once again. On the evening of April 14, 1865, while attending a play at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C., Abraham Lincoln was shot by an assassin. The following morning, he passed away. The nation mourned. People cried in the streets. The man who had carried the weight of a divided country was gone. Yet death could never erase what he had accomplished. More than 2 centuries have passed since Abraham Lincoln was born in that tiny log cabin. His house disappeared. His struggles became history. But his courage still inspires millions of people around the world. His life reminds us that success doesn't belong to those who never fail. It belongs to those who refuse to stay down after they fall. If life keeps testing you, keep moving. If people doubt you, keep improving. If your dreams seem impossible, remember the poor boy who studied beside the light of a fireplace and grew up to change the course of history. Because your circumstances may shape your beginning, but your choices will always shape your future. Thank you so much for watching. If this story inspired you or reminded you to never give up on your dreams, please leave a comment below and tell us what lesson from Abraham Lincoln's life touched you the most. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another true story of courage, resilience, and extraordinary people who change the world.